Many people believe that learning English on your own is impossible. They think they need a teacher. They think they need expensive courses. They think they need a perfect environment. They think they need someone guiding them every day. And because of this belief, they never start. But the truth is very different. Today, thousands of people around the world are learning English by themselves. They are improving their speaking. They are improving their listening. They are improving their vocabulary. They are becoming more confident. And they are doing it without a personal teacher. How? Because they understand something important. The most successful English learners are not always the ones with the best teachers. They are often the ones who take responsibility for their own learning. The internet has given us access to thousands of English resources. Videos, podcasts, books, articles, conversations, lessons, practice materials. Everything you need is available. The challenge is not finding resources. The challenge is using them consistently. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how you can learn English on your own. These steps are simple. They are practical. And they can help any learner improve, whether you are a beginner or at a higher level. As you listen to this video, you will also improve your English. Pay attention to new words. Listen carefully to the sentence patterns. Try to think in English while listening. The more you listen, the more natural English will become. And before we begin, if you enjoy learning English through simple and practical lessons like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and continue your English journey with us. Step 1. Take responsibility for your learning. If there is one step that can completely change your English journey, it is this one. Take responsibility for your learning. This sounds simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Many learners spend years waiting for the perfect teacher, waiting for the perfect course, waiting for the perfect app, waiting for someone to teach them everything. And while they wait, their English does not improve. The problem is that no teacher can learn English for you. No course can learn English for you. No app can learn English for you. They can guide you. They can help you. But the actual learning must come from you. Think about going to the gym. A trainer can show you exercises. A trainer can create a plan. A trainer can give advice. But the trainer cannot lift the weights for you. You must do the work yourself. Learning English works exactly the same way. The moment you take responsibility, everything changes. Instead of saying, "My teacher is not good," you start asking, "What can I do today to improve?" Instead of saying, "I don't have enough resources," you start asking, "How can I use the resources I already have?" Instead of saying, "Learning English is difficult," you start asking, "What is the next small step I can take?" These questions create progress. Imagine two learners. The first learner constantly blames external factors. They blame their school. They blame their teacher. They blame their environment. They blame their circumstances. The second learner faces the same challenges, but they take responsibility. They practice every day. They listen every day. They read every day. They find opportunities to learn. After 1 year, who do you think improves more? Almost always, it is the second learner, because responsibility creates action, and action creates improvement. One of the best things about learning English today is that you already have powerful learning tools. You probably have a smartphone. That device gives you access to English content from around the world. You can listen to podcasts, you can watch videos, You can read articles. You can learn new vocabulary. You can practice pronunciation. You can do all of this from your home. Many learners underestimate how valuable this is. Years ago, learning English was much harder. Today, opportunities are everywhere. The question is not whether opportunities exist. The question is whether you are willing to use them. Taking responsibility means becoming the leader of your own learning. It means creating your own opportunities. It means choosing to learn even when nobody tells you to learn. It means practicing even when nobody is watching. It means continuing even when progress feels slow. And this is important because language learning takes time. There will be days when you feel motivated. There will be days when you do not. There will be days when improvement feels fast. There will be days when improvement feels slow. But responsible learners continue anyway. They understand that consistency matters more than motivation. Think about planting a tree. You do not plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it. You care for it. You give it time. Day after day, week after week, month after month. Eventually, growth becomes visible. English learning is the same. Every listening session matters. Every reading session matters. Every new word matters. Every minute of practice matters. Even when you cannot immediately see the results. Trust the process. Keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep practicing. And most importantly, stop waiting for someone else to take control of your English journey. Take control yourself. Because the day you take responsibility for your learning is the day your English begins to improve faster than ever before. No teacher can give you fluency. No app can give you fluency. No course can give you fluency. They can help. But fluency comes from your effort, your consistency, and your willingness to learn every day. Take responsibility. Take action. And take ownership of your English journey. Step 2. Create a simple daily English routine. After taking responsibility for your learning, the next step is creating a simple daily English routine. This step may sound basic, but it is one of the most important steps in the entire learning process. Many learners believe they need more motivation. Many believe they need better resources. Many believe they need a secret method. But often, what they really need is a routine. Why? Because routines create consistency, and consistency creates results. Imagine two learners. The first learner studies English only when they feel motivated. Some days they study for 2 hours. Then they stop for several days. Then they study again. Then they disappear for a week. Their learning becomes unpredictable. The second learner studies for just 30 minutes every day. Not 2 hours, not 3 hours, just 30 minutes. Day after day, week after week, month after month. After 1 year, the second learner is usually much stronger. Why? Because language learning rewards consistency more than intensity. English is not something you learn once. It is something you practice repeatedly. Think about brushing your teeth. You do not brush your teeth for 5 hours on Sunday and then skip the rest of the week. You do it every day. The habit becomes automatic. Your English routine should become just as natural. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is creating routines that are too difficult. They tell themselves, I will study English 4 hours every day. I will learn 100 words every day. I will finish 10 lessons every day. The plan sounds impressive, but after a few days, they become tired. They become overwhelmed. Then they quit. A simple routine is much more powerful. Start with something realistic, something you can actually follow, something you can maintain for months, not just days. For example, 10 minutes of listening, 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of speaking practice. That is only 30 minutes. But if you do it every day, the results can be incredible. The secret is not doing a huge amount today. The secret is continuing tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Let's talk about listening. Listening should be a daily part of your routine. English podcasts, English videos, English stories, English conversations. Choose content that matches your level. Do not worry if you do not understand everything. Focus on understanding the main idea. The goal is to train your ears. The more English you hear, the more natural English becomes. Next comes reading. Reading exposes you to vocabulary, grammar, and sentence patterns. You do not need difficult books. Simple articles are enough, simple stories are enough. Even short pieces of English can help. The important thing is regular exposure. Every sentence you read teaches your brain something. Then comes speaking. Many learners skip this step. They listen, they read, but they never speak. As a result, they understand English better but still struggle to communicate. Speaking is essential. You do not need a partner every day. You can speak to yourself. Describe your day. Talk about your plans. Talk about what you see around you. Practice simple sentences. The goal is not perfection. The goal is practice. A simple daily routine also helps reduce stress. Without a routine, learners constantly ask themselves, what should I study today? Which video should I watch? Which method should I use? These decisions consume energy. A routine removes that confusion. You already know what to do. You simply follow the plan. This makes learning easier and more sustainable. Another benefit of a routine is momentum. Momentum is powerful. The more days you practice, the easier it becomes to continue. Imagine pushing a heavy bicycle. At first it feels difficult, but once the bicycle starts moving, maintaining movement becomes easier. English learning works the same way. The beginning is often the hardest part. But once a routine becomes a habit, learning feels much more natural. There will be days when you feel motivated. There will also be days when you feel tired. On those difficult days, your routine becomes extremely valuable. Because you are not relying on motivation, you are relying on habit. And habits are stronger than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Habits stay. Think about someone who wants to become physically fit. If they exercise only when they feel motivated, progress will be slow. But if exercise becomes part of their routine, improvement becomes almost inevitable. English follows the same principle. A learner who practices consistently will improve. It may not happen overnight. It may not happen in a week, but it will happen. Many learners underestimate the power of small daily actions. They think 30 minutes is not enough. They think they need more. But 30 minutes every day becomes 3.5 hours every week, more than 15 hours every month, more than 180 hours every year. That is a lot of practice. And all of it comes from small daily efforts. Remember, fluency is not built through one amazing study session. Fluency is built through hundreds of ordinary study sessions. One day at a time. One routine at a time. One step at a time. So create a simple routine. Keep it realistic, keep it consistent, and follow it every day. Because the learner who practices a little every day will almost always outperform the learner who studies a lot once in a while. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a plan you can follow consistently. A simple daily routine may seem small, but over time, it can completely transform your English. Step 3. Learn through listening every day. If you could only choose one skill to practice every day, listening would be one of the best choices. Many English learners focus almost entirely on grammar. Others focus only on vocabulary. Some focus only on speaking. But the truth is that listening helps improve all of these skills at the same time. When you listen to English, you are learning vocabulary. You are learning pronunciation. You are learning sentence structure. You are learning natural expressions. You are learning how real people actually use English. That is why daily listening is one of the most powerful ways to learn English on your own. Think about how children learn their first language. Before they speak, they listen. Before they create sentences, they listen. Before they understand grammar, they listen. For months and years, they are surrounded by language. Their brain absorbs patterns. Their brain learns sounds. Their brain becomes familiar with the language. English learners can use the same principle. The more English you hear, the more English becomes familiar. And familiarity is extremely important. Many learners struggle because English still feels foreign to them. The sounds feel unfamiliar. The sentence patterns feel unfamiliar. The rhythm feels unfamiliar. Daily listening changes this. Little by little, English begins feeling normal. Imagine two learners. The first learner studies grammar for 30 minutes every day but rarely listens to English. The second learner spends 30 minutes listening to English every day. After several months, the second learner often understands spoken English much better. Why? Because listening trains the brain to recognize the language in real situations. Language is not just rules. Language is communication. And communication happens through listening. One of the best things about listening is that you can do it almost anywhere. You can listen while walking. You can listen while exercising. You can listen while cleaning. You can listen while traveling. You can listen during breaks. This makes listening one of the easiest habits to add to your daily routine. Many learners think they need long study sessions to improve. But even 15 or 20 minutes of focused listening every day can create significant progress over time. Consistency is more important than perfection. Now let's talk about what you should listen to. This is important. Many beginners make the mistake of choosing content that is too difficult. They listen to advanced interviews, fast conversations, complex discussions. Then they become frustrated because they understand very little. A better approach is to choose material that is close to your current level. You should understand enough to follow the main message. At the same time, there should be a few new words and expressions to help you grow. This balance is ideal. It keeps learning enjoyable while still challenging your brain. Another common mistake is trying to understand every single word. Do not do this. Real listening is about understanding the overall message. Imagine watching a movie. You do not need to understand every word to understand the story. The same principle applies to English listening. Focus on the main idea. Focus on the message. Allow your brain to become comfortable with uncertainty. As your listening improves, your understanding will naturally increase. There is also a powerful technique called repeated listening. This method is simple. Listen to the same audio more than once. The first time, focus on understanding the main idea. The second time, notice new words and expressions. The third time, pay attention to pronunciation and sentence patterns. You will be amazed by how much more you understand with each listening. This technique trains your ears and helps your brain remember what it hears. Listening also improves speaking. Many learners are surprised by this. They think speaking improves only through speaking. But speaking and listening are deeply connected. The sentences you hear today often become the sentences you speak tomorrow. Every time you listen to natural English, your brain stores useful patterns. Later, when you need to speak, those patterns become available. That is why learners who listen regularly often speak more naturally. They are not creating every sentence from grammar rules. They are using language patterns they have heard many times before. Think about your native language. You do not stop and build every sentence word by word. You simply speak. Why? Because your brain has heard those patterns thousands of times. Daily listening helps create the same process in English. Another important benefit of listening is confidence. The more English you hear, the less intimidating English becomes. At first, spoken English may seem fast and difficult. But after weeks and months of regular listening, your brain starts recognizing common words and phrases more quickly. Conversations become easier to follow. Understanding becomes easier. And confidence begins growing. Many learners quit too soon because they expect immediate results. They listen for a few days and think nothing is happening. But language learning is like planting a tree. You do not see dramatic growth every day. The growth happens gradually. Then one day you realize how much progress has occurred. Suddenly you understand more. Suddenly you recognize more vocabulary. Suddenly you follow conversations more easily. That progress came from consistent listening. This is why patience is so important. Trust the process. Keep listening. Even when improvement feels slow. Even when you do not understand everything. Even when you feel frustrated. Every listening session is training your brain. Every listening session is building familiarity. Every listening session is helping you become a stronger English learner. You do not become fluent by listening once in a while. You become fluent by making English a regular part of your life. The more English you hear, the more English you understand. The more English you understand, the more confidently you can speak. So listen every day. Listen consistently. Listen patiently. And let the power of daily listening transform your English one sentence at a time. Step 4. Read easy English content regularly. One of the biggest mistakes English learners make is choosing reading material that is far too difficult for their level. They pick advanced books. They read complicated articles. They choose content filled with unfamiliar vocabulary. Then they spend more time looking at a dictionary than actually reading. Very quickly, they become frustrated. They lose confidence. And eventually, they stop reading altogether. The problem is not reading. The problem is choosing the wrong material. If you want to learn English on your own, reading should become one of your daily habits. But it should be enjoyable. It should be understandable. And it should help you build confidence. Imagine a person who has never lifted weights before. Would you tell them to start with the heaviest weights in the gym? Of course not. You would tell them to start with something manageable, something they can handle. Then slowly increase the difficulty. Reading English works exactly the same way. Start with material that is appropriate for your level. Simple stories, easy articles, short conversations, beginner books, children's stories, English learning websites, simple news written for learners. These materials may seem easy, but easy is often exactly what you need. When content is understandable, your brain learns more efficiently. You stay motivated. You read more. And reading more leads to improvement. Many learners underestimate how powerful reading can be. Every sentence you read teaches your brain something. You see vocabulary in context. You see grammar being used naturally. You see how ideas are expressed in English. You see sentence patterns repeated again and again. Over time, these patterns become familiar. Think about a phrase like, "I am looking forward to it." If you see this phrase once, you may forget it. If you see it 20 times while reading different articles and stories, it becomes familiar. Eventually, you understand it instantly. Later, you may even begin using it when speaking. This is one reason reading is so effective. It gives your brain repeated exposure to useful language. Reading also helps improve your vocabulary naturally. Many learners try to memorize long vocabulary lists. They learn hundreds of words. Then they forget most of them. Why? Because the words were not connected to meaningful situations. Reading solves this problem. When you encounter a word inside a story or article, it becomes connected to an idea. Your brain understands how the word is used. This makes it easier to remember. Imagine reading a story about travel. You repeatedly see words like airport, ticket, passport, flight, luggage. Because these words appear together in a meaningful context, your brain learns them more easily. This is much more effective than memorizing random vocabulary lists. Another benefit of reading is that it improves your writing. Many learners wonder how to write better English. The answer is simple. Read more. The more you read, the more examples your brain receives. You begin noticing how sentences are structured. You begin noticing how paragraphs are organized. You begin noticing how ideas are connected. Over time, your own writing starts improving naturally. Reading also strengthens your grammar. This surprises many learners. They think grammar can only be learned through grammar books. Grammar books can help, but reading allows you to see grammar in action. Instead of studying a rule, you see the rule being used repeatedly. Your brain becomes familiar with correct English, and familiarity is powerful. Think about your native language. Most of the grammar you use every day was not learned from rules. It was learned through exposure. You heard it, you read it, you used it. The same process can happen with English. There is another important advantage to reading. Reading helps you think in English. Many learners constantly translate. They read a sentence in English. Then they translate it into their native language. This habit slows them down. But as you read more, your brain starts recognizing English directly. You begin understanding without translating every word. This is a major step toward fluency. The goal is not simply to read English. The goal is to become comfortable with English. Reading helps create that comfort. Many learners ask, "How much should I read?" The answer is simple. Read a little every day. Even 10 or 15 minutes can make a difference. Consistency matters more than long study sessions. A few pages every day are more powerful than reading an entire book once a month. Why? Because daily reading keeps English fresh in your mind. It creates regular exposure. It builds momentum. Another powerful habit is reading things that genuinely interest you. If you enjoy sports, read about sports. If you enjoy technology, read about technology. If you enjoy travel, read about travel. If you enjoy personal development, read about personal development. Interest creates motivation. Motivation creates consistency. And consistency creates results. The more enjoyable reading becomes, the more likely you are to continue. Remember that reading is not a race. You do not need to finish quickly. You do not need to understand every word. Focus on understanding the main message. Focus on enjoying the content. Focus on learning little by little. Every page you read strengthens your English. Every article teaches you something. Every story gives your brain new language patterns. And over time, these small improvements become enormous progress. Many fluent English speakers became fluent partly because they read regularly. They exposed themselves to thousands of sentences, thousands of expressions, thousands of examples of real English. That exposure shaped their understanding of the language. It can do the same for you. Readers become stronger learners. The more English you read, the more English you understand. The more English you understand, the more confidently you can speak, write, and communicate. So make reading a daily habit. Start with simple content. Stay consistent. Trust the process. And let reading become one of the most powerful tools in your English learning journey. Step 5. Think in English instead of translating. One of the biggest obstacles that prevents English learners from becoming fluent is the habit of translating everything. Many learners hear an English sentence. Then they translate it into their native language. When they want to speak, they first create the sentence in their native language. Then they translate it into English. This process takes time. It slows down speaking. It creates hesitation. And it often causes learners to feel stuck. Imagine you want to say a simple sentence like, "I am tired today." A learner who depends on translation may go through several steps. First, they think of the sentence in their native language. Then they search for the English words. Then they think about grammar. Then they try to arrange the words correctly. Only after all of that do they finally speak. This process is exhausting. It is like trying to drive a car while constantly stopping and restarting the engine. Now imagine a learner who thinks directly in English. They want to express the same idea. Their brain immediately produces, "I am tired today." No translation, no extra steps, no delay. Speaking becomes smoother and faster. This is one of the major differences between learners and fluent speakers. Fluent speakers think in English more often. They do not constantly move back and forth between languages. Their brain begins working directly in English. The good news is that this skill can be developed. You do not need to wait until you become fluent. In fact, you should start practicing it right now. Many learners believe they need thousands of words before they can think in English. This is not true. You can start with the English you already know. Imagine you are sitting in your room. Look around. You see a chair. You think, "That is a chair." You see a window. You think, "The window is open." You see your phone. You think, "My phone is on the table." These are simple thoughts, but they train your brain to operate in English. At first, your thoughts may be very basic. That is perfectly fine. Simple English is still English. The goal is not perfection. The goal is building the habit. Think about a child learning their first language. Children do not begin with complicated sentences. They begin with simple words, then simple phrases, then simple sentences. Over time, those sentences become more complex. You can follow the same process. Start small. Start simple. Build gradually. Another useful exercise is describing your actions throughout the day. When you wake up, think, I am getting out of bed. I am brushing my teeth. I am making breakfast. When you leave your house, think, I am going to work. I am walking. The weather is nice today. These simple thoughts provide daily English practice. And the best part is that you can do it anywhere. No teacher required. No special equipment required. Just your mind. Many learners worry about making mistakes while thinking in English. Do not worry about mistakes. Nobody can hear your thoughts. This is a safe place to practice. Focus on expressing ideas. Focus on building the habit. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Another reason thinking in English is powerful is that it strengthens vocabulary. Imagine you want to describe something but do not know the word. Now your brain has a reason to learn it. The vocabulary becomes useful because it connects to real life. This is much more effective than memorizing random words. Thinking in English also improves speaking confidence. Why? Because your brain becomes accustomed to creating English sentences. When it is finally time to speak, your brain has already practiced. The sentences feel more familiar. The words come more easily. The hesitation becomes smaller. Think of your brain like a muscle. Every time you think in English, that muscle becomes stronger. Every English thought is practice. Every English sentence is training. Little by little, your brain becomes faster and more comfortable with the language. Many learners spend years studying English but never develop the habit of thinking in English. As a result, they continue translating everything. And because they continue translating, speaking remains slow and difficult. Do not make that mistake. Start now. Start today. Even if your English level is low, even if your vocabulary is limited, even if your sentences are simple, simple thoughts create powerful habits. There is another important benefit. Thinking in English helps you become more independent. You no longer need to rely on translation all the time. You no longer need to mentally switch between languages constantly. English starts becoming a language you use rather than a language you study. This is a huge step toward fluency. Remember, fluency is not just knowing English. Fluency is using English naturally. And natural use begins in the mind. Before words come out of your mouth, they are created in your thoughts. That is why training your thoughts is so important. Imagine spending the next 6 months thinking in English for just a few minutes every day. Imagine describing your surroundings. Imagine talking to yourself. Imagine creating simple English thoughts throughout the day. The improvement would be remarkable. Your confidence would grow. Your vocabulary would grow. Your speaking would become smoother. And English would start feeling much more natural. The less you translate, the more fluent you become. Train your brain to think in English. Start with simple thoughts. Practice every day. Stay patient. And little by little, English will stop feeling like a foreign language and start feeling like a natural part of your life. Learning English on your own is possible. Stay consistent, practice every day, and never be afraid of mistakes. Keep learning, keep speaking, and keep moving forward. If you enjoyed this lesson, subscribe to the channel for more English learning videos. See you in the next lesson.